I've got a video. Typically they say keep people awake during a webinar. So I'll show the video. I'm going to narrate a little bit to share with you guys a little bit more about what we're really trying to do from a connectivity standpoint in the commercial door operator business. So I'm going to start out. You're going to hear me mimic a little bit what Sherry said because our Logic 5.0 operators have MyQ. That's what we have today. So MyQ, I'll go through a little bit of that. I'll go through realistically which customers are going to be more inclined to use this, and then we'll get into some more of the connectivity strategy moving forward. So today, I wanted to reiterate our Logic 5.0 operators have 3 new things from our old Logic 4, and this might be going over and over, but I try and keep it down to 3 things you got to remember. So the first thing is MyQ. So one, free app to download. There's no yearly fee, etc. You can monitor and control the same way you can do your home or your residence, and you can receive alerts, etc. 2, Security Plus 2.0. So that's the tri-band frequency, 310, 315, 390. We're seeing drastic range improvements. One of the number one issues we've typically had is in a firehouse, because you've got an apparatus sitting there with a whole bunch of radio interference right under the trolley operator, right? We typically got to take a cat cable, stick it out the front of the building, right? Essentially, we've been able to eliminate either somebody calling back to the firehouse and saying, hey, can you open door number 3? Or I don't think I've seen a fireman hanging out the window anymore to get that thing to open. So seen drastic range improvements there with Security Plus 2.0. And then dual voltage. We now carry single phase units, which it's just a Molex plug. You can't put it in backwards. We made sure it was dummy proof. But it's going to switch from 115 to 230 volt single phase, and we've got a 3-phase unit which switches from 208 to 230 to 460 volt 3-phase. We've got a 575 volt unit, mainly the high voltage for the Canadian customers as well. But those are the 3 voltages that we've got, so it's pretty easy to get on site, and if you find that it's 230, it's pretty easy to go ahead and switch it. So again, a little bit of repetitive, but it's 900 megahertz band, 2-way communication, provides the ability to monitor and control the exact same thing that you guys have known and loved on residential. And we've actually seen some range issues there. So when Sherry was saying, hey, you know, it's typically 1,000 to 1,500, not in a steel enclosed building, and you got a ton of 8-inch brick wall, etc., 12-inch brick. So what we've had to do is we've had to get a little creative. So you can actually take the gateway and stick it about 150 feet plugged into an Ethernet cable away from the router. So if you have to, you can get it up in a drop ceiling and get it out closer to the garage. And we've seen a lot of improvement there from that standpoint. And again, it's on our Logic 5.0 product line, residential and gate operators. So where are we really finding the sweet spot? Of course, like I was saying, municipalities. So we walked into the fire station and they said, hey, I want to be able to monitor and control my home at work, right? Because that's where, if you talk to a typical fireman, his work is his home. They live there. They do 24-hour, 36-hour shifts, and they can very easily monitor and control that from anywhere, even inside their apparatus. A lot of them are going to iPads right here at fingertip. And then you've got small business, automotive, and warehouse. So really what you're talking about is we're not going to go out and automate the 100 to 200 dock door warehouse because it's really not. It's typically a smaller solution set, right? So we're looking at small businesses, automotive service centers, automotive dealerships have had great success in the fact that they love the fact that they lose remotes all the time. So they hand them out to the technician will lose it or drive over it, etc. And they have the ability to open and close the door from a central location. And then warehouse. So because it's capped at 16 devices per gateway, you'd have to put in multiple gateways. And I'll actually talk a little bit more about that in a couple slides. But so if you needed 30 devices, you'd have to have 2 gateways, and on and on and on. So from there, Sherry talked about it a little bit, but really one of the main questions that I have from a commercial facility manager is, well, so I get it, I can open and close the door, and that's great. What's the real benefit to me? The big benefit for commercial facilities managers are the alerts. So one, uncapped, unlimited. So you can set an alert for every single door. You can set an alert for notify me if it's been open for 15 minutes, if it's been open for 30, 45, an hour, out until infinity, right? So we've got unlimited amount of alerts. And then 2, I want to receive that alert at 3 a.m. My warehouse door just opened. What's going on? Why is somebody there? So I want to set an alert that says, notify me instantaneously if the door opens from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. because I know my warehouse manager leaves at 6 p.m. and he gets in at 6 a.m., right? And that's really where they've seen the benefit of those alerts, and they're able to act on it quickly. The next big piece too, Sherry mentioned, is scheduling. So, of course, in a business, the stakes are a little bit higher, which even lends more credence to the fact that we don't allow you to set a schedule to open the door. We only set a schedule to close. So, I've actually seen a lot of facility managers eliminate the 7-day timer that they typically put on the doors, because you can set an alert or set a schedule, to say I want all my doors to close at 8 p.m. and that's it, right? We're closing down for the day, etc. So they find a lot of benefit in alerts and scheduling as well. The other nice thing is the lights. So especially at a commercial facility, so you can schedule on or off. It's not capped there because we might just waste a little bit of electricity if we leave them on all night, right? But that's another functionality that they very much like. So from there, I'm actually going to do a slight video, like I said. Let me see if we can get this guy going. Awesome. So we've got what we call the energy saving solution. And realistically, we're finding new and better ways to take advantage of that connectivity. And we're, utilizing some local door sensors, of course. But we're enabling a timer to close, paired with a trailer presence sensor, and then utilizing the MyQ reporting to save cold storage facilities money, right? So today we're out targeting cold storage facilities with our dealers and partners, and we eventually see this as moving into all temperature controlled, and on and on and on and on. I think one of the big benefits that we see for a facilities manager is that a lot of them know what's going on in their warehouse. They understand that they've got dozens of orders to get out, dozens of trucks coming to pick them up, but they sort of lose visibility in the last 50 feet. So the dock space, what's going on? Because typically we're dealing with unautomated dock doors. The automation is a rope they use to open and close it, right? So we're able to come in and realistically optimize the capabilities, and then really what MyQ offers is the ability to report on that optimization. So we've done a couple of pilot test cases where we've actually worked with the utility company in the area to provide an energy rebate to the facilities manager. So what that is we have the ability to tell the facilities manager that your doors were closed when they should have been closed at the right time. And the utility company said, sure, we're going to pay you for that because we see the kilowatt hour savings. Let's click here. And realistically, here's the benefits. You say, so what? So what's the benefits to this? Basically, we've been able to prove that when you leave your door open for a minute a day, it's about $1,100 a year in kilowatt hour energy savings, etc. That only starts to compound as you've got, okay, so that's one door times a minute. Yeah, $1,100, not that much. When you've got 10 doors times a minute, it starts to get a lot more interesting. And then when you've got it open for 5 minutes a day, it compounds. So we've been able to have great success with this program. If you do have any other questions, let me know. We can certainly answer them later. So I wanted to do a quick recap, sort of things to remember. Right now, the residential, as you heard from Sherry, the residential MyQ requires that you have the two alerts, so an audible and a visual alert before a remote activation, so somebody hitting the door and closing it or opening it. Right now, the commercial door operators do not have that same requirement, so you don't actually need a audible or a visual. A lot of facilities managers get a little weary of that, right? A remote closure, but we do still have the ability to put additional lights or horns on the door in case of facility manager being a little worried of that. Next is, so we've got all the same great MyQ accessories, so you can actually utilize the light controls in a commercial environment. You can actually utilize that retrofit option. Now I will say this with a caveat, because it has a tilt switch on that door sensor, you can't use it on a full vertical lift door. You'll never know if it's open or closed. It'll just be closed always. So that's the caveat, and then you can actually use those to retrofit other older LiftMaster commercial door operators. And then really, this is a piece I just wanted to touch on very quickly. So as you walk into a commercial environment, most of the time, you're going to have Wi-Fi throughout the building. What that's going to require is some coordination with IT. So the most or the easiest that I've seen is go ahead, give the IT manager the gateway and say, hey, listen, I'd love you to go ahead, set this up. I'll be doing the installation next week. He'll go off, and if he needs to, he can contact LiftMaster technical support to get that thing online and through firewalls if they have any. But then by the time you show up on the job site, you're ready to go. From there, it's like learning a transmitter. It's very, very easy to do. And then the last I wanted to make a note on is the home bridge, and really that is what Sherry was saying. Most of the time when I've walked into a facility, the IT manager says, well, what do you need to do? And I say, hey, I need to plug in this little black box to your big IT cabinet, and he says, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. So what we are introducing with the 819 is a wireless version of that, right? You don't have to go and plug an Ethernet cable in. The 819 will get on the Wi-Fi, and then you can learn in the operators from there. So that's a much easier pitch to the IT department. And then I just did want to mention this very briefly. So Sherry's actually going to come up again because she's so wonderful. She's going to talk to you guys about our LiftMaster cloud solution that we're currently using on our access control business. And the commercial side of the business, we actually see a use for a little bit more robust connectivity solution than the MyQ app. So we're going to be pretty soon introducing these capabilities that Sherry will walk you through, connecting to Logic 5 operators as well. So from there, does anyone have any questions? Excellent. All right, I think we'll move on. We're going to move back to Sherry at this point. I'll hand it over to Sherry. There you go.